Well, anyways, I don't expect anybody to tune in on this video because people are eating and with their families. And I wasn't even supposed to be making a video today, except that little bit that I made this morning. I really enjoy making the videos. I'm not just making these videos just to be making these videos and just to be talking, but these videos will be very important in my work later on. I want to say again that I am Denise Fitzpatrick, a victim of housing discrimination, as well as my son, and we are now advocates for the mentally ill and also the homeless regards housing discrimination. I am proud to say that I am now also a member of the National Coalition for the Homeless, and I'm proud to say that today. I'm also proud to say that earlier I spoke with a man that was one of the speakers when speaking to the city council regarding the stopping of feeding toward the homeless community here in Raleigh in the year 2013. They were interested in stopping the feeding for the homeless in a park here called Moore Square because they'd started doing renovations in the downtown area. The city said that there was trash everywhere from the homeless people, and they wanted the homeless moved from that park. So I spoke with him briefly today. It wasn't a scheduled meeting, but we sat and we spoke, and of course, I gave glory to God in speaking with him, and he did the same, God as he knows him. I had a good conversation today, and then I was thinking on the way after I left the meeting, I said, I'm supposed to be doing a video today, right now. But I sat down, and that's where I'm at now, and after the meeting, I'm sitting in one of my favorite historical parks here in Raleigh, and I was thinking about something, and it came to me, I said, I'm going to just stop, and I am going to make a quick video. Didn't expect no tuning in and viewers and all of that, but that's fine, because I know people are busy today. Those that celebrate today is Thanksgiving, and I didn't expect for viewers, but again, I know these videos are posted, and later on, if someone would, as they've been at times, they of course will listen to the video. I was thinking improving housing discrimination, which is what I did when I went against Wake County Human Services and fought them in a court of law for 6 months. Many know this already because they've listened to the videos and they know. But again, someone may just be listening to this one and as the first one, so I always try to give a little insight about it always when I go online, briefly anyways. When I fought Wake County for housing discrimination, whereas they excluded my son or locked him out or made housing unavailable for my son who has mental disability. He was excluded from housing because he has a mental disability, which is why he was eligible for the housing in the first place, belonging to a protected class. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was amended in the year 1988 to include those of a protected class. And my son, of course, would belong to that class because of mental illness. Wake County Human Services, again, says that they're a government agency authorized to provide housing for people that have experienced homelessness and have mental illness. Then they excluded my son from housing because he has mental illness. Thus, he was eligible for the housing by federal statutes because he has a mental disability, and then excluded from housing because he has a mental disability. Well, when I fought Wake County in the court of law for 6 months, I ended up winning my motion against Wake County, who had filed a motion to dismiss. I then had my attorney to file a motion for preliminary injunction pending trial. And as I knew and as she said, if discrimination, Ms. Fitzpatrick, is found in the early phases of the lawsuit, then you will be granted your motion for preliminary injunction pending trial, and Wake County Human Services would lose their motion to dismiss. And that is what happened. That is called establishing a prima facie case. I always have a problem pronouncing that word, but it means first appearance, that the judge can look at the first appearance at looking at the case and knew there was discrimination. Well, in order for the judge also to determine and to find discrimination, he used several factors. I'm going to go back for a second, because when the son was excluded from housing, or after he was and left in a homeless state, then I was stripped of the guardianship because I had no housing for him. After they excluded him, then they violated yet another law, Chapter 35A of the North Carolina Guardianship Statutes, which says that a public or a state guardian should not be appointed for a person with mental illness that has a family member, such as a mother as myself, that is willing, able, and interested in caring for her loved one. It says that the person that knows him better than anyone and has been with him longer than anyone and has always been in his corner more than anyone, this is in the fleshly sense, that is, should be the one best to be or to continue to be his guardian. But again, the guardianship was stripped from me after he was excluded or locked out or unwelcomed to live in the housing of which he was eligible for by federal, state, and local laws. Now back to the court case. The factors that Judge Ned Magnum used to determine the discrimination, which would cause Wake County again to lose their motion to dismiss, was this. He first took notice of the guardianship file. In that file, he had to have noticed that I lost such guardianship due to my son being excluded from housing because he has a mental disability. That was one factor that showed him, along with or outside of the fact that the first appearance showed discrimination, which is how I established that prima facie case. The second factor that he used was the arguments of counsel. My counsel and the arguments of with my counsel and with the Wake County attorneys. He took that note to determine whether it would be discrimination in violation of the Federal Fair Housing Amendment Act of 1988, the North Carolina Fair Housing Act, and many other laws and statutes. The next thing he took in consideration was the testimony of Wake County's Housing Assistant Director, Wanda Till. Wanda Till is the one that made housing unavailable for my son because he has mental disability. After I signed into a housing program on October 14th, 2014, and signed into the rules that a participant, as myself, can request a change in family composition. This was after he was already initially excluded from housing. When I filed that reasonable accommodation request, I sent it to her and to the apartment management by certified mail, return receipt. She ignored, Wake County Assistant Housing Director ignored the request, which is also a violation of the Fair Housing Amendment Act of 1988. I sent the same request to the apartment management of the Montecito Apartments here at Raleigh, North Carolina, to Patricia Hickman. We call her Van Hickman. Van Hickman received the same thing that Wanda Till did. But there's a difference. Patricia Hickman approved the request, waiting for approval from Wanda Till of Wake County, who ignored the reasonable accommodation request. She also ignored another reasonable accommodation request at the hands of the counsel that cross-examined her. My counsel, Attorney Suzanne Chester of the so-called legal aid fair housing project. She denied another, Till did, another request. Wanda Till began to harass me into signing into a new program, other and in contradiction to the program I had already signed into, which gave me the right to request that my son live with me after he'd already been excluded. Well, then she wanted me to change into a new program that would change those rules. I would not be able to request that he would get a change in, that I could change, get stuttered up. I would not be able to request a change in family composition. It would take him at least a year or two to be added, and there was no guarantee even then. She wanted me to sign into a new program that would help them to keep my son out of the housing that he was eligible for by federal laws. I refused to sign into the new program. For 5 months, I was harassed over and over and over again. I received notes on the apartment door from a caseworker, Joanna Fulmer of Wake County, and they threatened that if I didn't come down and sign into a new program that would help them keep the son out, I would be discriminated against myself and my son. Anyway, the notes on the door threatened, if you don't come down and sign into the new program, we are going to terminate your subsidy. That went on for about 5 months, and I continued over and over to say I won't sign into anything else. I even sent a cease and desist email that said, cease this, or I will proceed accordingly. They continued. The Housing and Urban Development even sent an email to their partner, the human rights investigator, Mr. Edward Smith, here in Raleigh, North Carolina. He told Mr. Smith to add harassment and intimidation to my complaint, which is also, to my knowledge and understanding and belief, is also discrimination. Well, the next thing that they used, the judge, to show there was discrimination or to know that it was, the next factor was a testimony from the apartment management, Van Hickman, who had no problem with my tendency. He even welcomed me to live there as long as the rent could be paid. Well, that testimony of saying good things about me to the judge also helped not Wake County, but my case. Therefore, I established a prima facie case in a court of law against Wake County Human Services. I want to jump back just for a second, because the harassment that went on for me to come down and sign into the program, the new rules that would hem me up and would help you keep my son out, well, it kept on with the harassment. Finally, I was told to go down and see the rules. Well, there was no need to go down for me to go, because I was going to sign anything, as I'd made that clear. But they continued with the harassment. On March 19th, I went down to see the rules. I knew what it were before I went, but I did go down, as suggested by the partner of HUD. When I did get there, I signed in, and I guess they thought, oh wow, Miss Fitzpatrick's here. She is going to sign. Well, Wanda Till came in the hall, and she was rubbing my hands and nervous. And I looked at her, I said, I'm not going to sign anything else. She said, I made a mistake all along. Go back a little bit, because during the time of the harassment to get me to sign into the new program, she said she made an error and had me placed in the wrong program. Well, she said those same words again when I met with her in the hallway in person. She said, I made an error. And after I kept saying I'm not going to sign anything, then I said, Miss Wanda Till, Assistant Housing Director of the Shelter Plus Care Program here in Raleigh, may I see the rules to the program that you want me to agree to? When she said these words, I was floored. She said, Miss Fitzpatrick, I can't let you see the rules until you sign first. I said to myself, oh my God. This lady couldn't be saying what I think I'm hearing. Is this what she's been doing to the homeless community? If you don't sign something, you got to sign without seeing. If you don't, we're going to terminate your subsidy. And people just, give me a pen and go to grabbing and writing. There's John Hancock. Oh, let me sign it. I can't be homeless again. Let me put my name on here. Keep this housing under any circumstance. Even if I don't even know what I'm signing. Well, I could have been signing anything. I could have been saying, throw my son in the river or kill me or anything. I was supposed to sign without seeing the rules. I looked at her, I said, excuse me? I said, ma'am, let me say something to you. I have some letters in my bag. I'm going to flip them over, and I want you to sign. Then I'm going to flip them back and let you see what you signed. If you do that for me, I'll sign yours. She said, I can't. I said, have a good day. This is one of the big reasons that I am an advocate today for the mentally ill as well as the homeless. So this is what you've been doing and getting away with it. You have been, apparently you've tried it before, I would think, and somebody signed it without knowing what they were signing, just to keep housing. Isn't that sad? Isn't it sad? Well, I wasn't going to sign it, and I didn't. You know what? It's really sad when I think about what people expect you to go through, feeling that you really need them, that you're desperate, and you'll do anything. Sign your name without seeing what you sign. Now, would she do that? No. I couldn't. She said, would anybody in their right mind sign that? Well, after, I won the motion for preliminary injunction and Wake County lost their motion to dismiss, they, that was another harassment for at least close to 5 months. So, I never had no enjoyment in housing. I was harassed there for close to 5 months to sign into a new program without seeing the rules. And then because I wouldn't sign, and I left that day, and she said, I said, have a good day. Then I get my utilities cut off because I wouldn't sign in that manner. In June, 90-degree weather, they cut the utilities off and stopped the subsidy. And I got an eviction notice. But I didn't go anywhere because the lawsuit kicked in. But anyway, 90-degree weather, no air, no hot water, no electric. That's what they have done. Well, I'm just sitting here and I'm just thinking, I'm like, that is really an insulting of intelligence to ask somebody to sign something and they don't even know what they're signing. Now, if that isn't a low down thing, she wouldn't do it. And all the things that's been done to us in this case, all the wrongdoings, you kept the son in the homeless, you excluded him from housing, stripped me of the guardianship because he didn't have housing, wanted me to sign into a new program without seeing the rules, cut the utilities off because without being able to see him for signing, cut the utilities off because I wouldn't sign it without seeing what I was signing, go to court, then y'all harass me, want me to sign a settlement agreement that you called settlement, which really you were saying drop it. Or we'll cut the utilities on. We'll pay the rent. if she drops the lawsuit. So you didn't want to give us any compensatory damages. But then the home you put my son in, which is way away, you didn't even want to pay the taxi fare for me to go visit or see him. And then you made me stay on the porch when I went to visit him because you were angry because I had made some complaints because of another home. And they made me stay on the porch when I went to visit the son. When he couldn't even come in. Same thing happens now. So you want me to agree to the settlement that you call settlement, was really dropping. You want me to do that. When I wouldn't do that, I have the right to go to trial because that's what the preliminary injunction pending trial motion was filed for. I won that, and then you kept asking me to settle, what you call settlement. And then when I kept confusing, then you gave me a guardian ad litem. A guardian ad litem. Just, the documents say, to get the case settled. Against my will. I have never, am not, make this clear, I am not and have never been adjudicated as being incompetent nor incapacitated in my life. After all, I established a prima facie case. I beat Wake County in their lawsuit, but I am legally incompetent. No, sir, and no, ma'am. So you wanted me to do that. Then you gave me Abraham Jones, used to be a judge for 18 years. Because I wouldn't settle, all the time you kept harassing me to settle, then he's allowed to be a guardian ad litem. Now, I'm really, when you think about it, I'm really, me and my son, the only ones in the case, really, that abided by the laws. But they broke all these laws, then I'm the one legally incompetent. They'd be more likely to be legally incompetent or professionally incompetent than me. They're the ones who broke all the laws. Look, again, I have never been adjudicated as incompetent, never had a hearing for it, and have never, ever been deemed to be unable to handle my own affairs. Ever. It looks to me like they'd be the ones not able to handle their affairs, at least not legally. When I think about the laws that were broken, it's unbelievable because, you know, in the year 2012, I think it was, or either 2014, 2012 it was, I think, that the United States sued the state of North Carolina for placing people with mental illness into adult care homes, or was it family care, adult care homes. Now, they violated the Olmstead Act in that case. They violated Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act in that case. And some of the other laws they violated are the same laws that were violated in our case. It was considered discrimination then, when the United States sued them, and discrimination in my case is what the deal is here with this. Again, some of the same laws were violated in our case. You know, there's really, I'm really thankful to God. I spoke with the man earlier, like I said, the man that was a civil rights fighter, talked with me earlier. And, you know, he said it's really amazing how the Supreme God fights our battles. You know, I've been accused of having taken my son off of meds, and the person had no proof called me a loving mother. I got documents this thick from doctors, psychologists, counselors, you name it, that will vouch of me being the type of mother that I am. But you took the guardianship because I'd been homeless. Well, that's why we went to get the housing. Did you ever ask what led to homelessness? I'm going to go into that on my next video, you know. So you people can't say anything because you caused the homelessness. You left them in a homeless state. Matter of fact, let me say, the wrongful settlement that Attorney Abe Jones did, I ended up relinquishing the voucher assistant, you know. If I would have stayed in there, he was putting me in the same program that Wanda Till would not let me see the rules to before signing. Same program. Which means he was giving them what they wanted. When all that court, all that amending of the complaint, if I was going to agree with staying in there in that program, or not staying in that program, I was never in that program, but if I was going to agree with being in that program, there'd been no sense in me even admitting the complaint in regards to that. That's what he done. The same, like, look at this. All our rights violated. We've been lied to. Attorneys conflicting of interest, for reasons well warranted, I say that. Because the attorney from Legal Aid Fair Housing Project, she kept going on and on. She was going to go all the way to trial. I even asked her the motion to dismiss. To a withdrawal right before the cross-examination because I've seen all this contradiction. And she promised that she's going to go all the way, do discovery, and go all the way to trial. That's why she filed a motion to get to trial and won. And then she filed motions to a withdrawal. That's what happened. Well, I want to say that I didn't mean to do the first video all over again. I kind of did. But of course, those that have seen the first video, they know the deals. But anyone that hasn't seen the first video, it's still important to watch that first video. And those first videos, there's two of them that are, I have red blazer and black shirt on. And those two are the very first videos that I made. I'm thankful to say that not only am I an advocate for the mentally ill as well as the homeless, but I'm also a victim of housing discrimination and now a member of the National Coalition for the Homeless, and I look forward to being a member of many more national organizations in this very unfair and devastating case of discrimination that we have suffered with the damages and effects of since 2014, with it now going into 2018. And of course, we've gone through this because God has given us the strength to go through it. And he'll allow things. He'll set back and then he'll say, that's it. That's it. We lean on him. We have the right to speak because our case is in public records in Raleigh, North Carolina. 15 CVD, C Cal, V Victor, D Dog, 9292. And in court, they tried to keep that out of public records. A county attorney and the cross-examining attorney that I had, they tried to keep it out of public records. The county attorney asked for it to be kept out of public records. He didn't want it in public records. He wanted the media. So you don't want nothing. You don't want it in public records. You don't want it in the media. You don't want to give any compensatory, not even pay the cab. You want me to sign without seeing the rules to a program. You cut utilities off because I didn't. You harassed me to settle a case. I wouldn't do it. You gave me a garden of lime just to do it. You all these things for them to just walk scot-free. I've been a good tenant. I have not broke no laws. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I have not violated any lease. I haven't broke any type of law in this case. I have a clean record, both criminal and I have no criminal and no traffic. I'm a Christian woman, God-fearing, law-abiding citizen, unlike many others. I have never used illegal drugs. I don't even drink coffee. I am a good mother, over 200% supportive, with the best interest for my son. No one, it's in the court records, no one can love my son in the fleshly sense more than I can. No one. No public, state guardian, or any other kind of guardian can have my son's best interest. I don't care who thinks they can or who wants to say they can or wants to be, whatever. They can't do it. They cannot love my son more than me, his biological mother. I have proved over and over and over again that I have the best interest for my son. God allows things. He allows struggles many times. It brings you closer. It brought me closer to him. But how can a complete stranger who has proven that they don't care, if you cared, you would have never excluded him from housing in the first place? Because a person with mental illness has enough to deal with just having the mental illness, less known to feel unwanted. Well, that's how they made my son feel. When they left him in a homeless state, in a crisis center, and the nurse, I would see him every day and bring food for him and all others. And the nurse said, "We have not seen a love like this." You're a mother, ma'am. I've heard it all of my time as a mother. I'm a mother. Sure, there's been struggles and there's been hardships. But you don't deprive someone of their mother and living with their mother if that's their desire, just because you broke the laws. And who gives you the right to say what the best interest is when your thinking and your actions do not conform with that of God's word, the Bible? The best interest of my son is to be with a Christian family, a mother that loves him and knows him more than anyone in the fleshly sense. Bible studies at home, free of cigarette smoking and cursing and profanity and movies and violence. That's what he sees there. Great area, amenities, location fabulous. It had swimming pools, 3 of them, gazebo, barbecue, weight room, sauna. No bugs, no bed bugs, none of that. But if I would have stayed there, they deprived him of it. And if I would have stayed there, I would have been in the same program that I wouldn't see the rules to before I signed. Therefore, I had a choice. Give up the housing or agree to the discrimination. Well, that's what it boiled down to. But Wade County wanted to could not get me out of there by just breaking all of that. You had to go before a judge. Because I knew you'd broke the laws and I wanted compensatory damages. That's my right. That's what the lawsuit was drawn up in the prayer of relief for by the cross-examining attorney. Compensatory and possibly punitive damages. That's what the lawsuit was drawn in the prayer of relief for. I proved discrimination. I met all elements. I proved it with flying colors. Because those things he took note of, they prove discrimination. No one can fix it where it's not discrimination. I don't care how hard they try, if anyone is. I don't know if they want it to be that, other than discrimination, but they can't. And no one can say that I am not a good mother, because I have all the proof that I need. You know, this thing is so modern. I don't know what's going on. It looked like it's some kind of something jumped on, changed the shape of my mouth. Or some kind of cartoon I've hit. So I don't like that. So I'm out of here. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.